This is video number 61, and it is for violin, viola, and cello, actually, but not bass. Bass, you need to have your own video because there are some shifting things involved, especially in 106. So if you're a bass player watching this, exit out and go find the video that's for you, okay? So we're going to learn 105, 106, and 107. So be open to page 28 in your book. And we're just going to start with shadow bowing. Now, I'm playing with the metronome at 80 for this. I think 80 is a great tempo because slower than this, it makes dotted half notes difficult to play. Faster than this, it makes quarter notes difficult to play. Okay, I think 80 is a very good tempo. However, if you find that you need to go slower, that's fine. Just make sure your dotted half notes get 3 full beats. Okay, remember our new time signature is 3/4 time, and our new note is a dotted half note. Remember the half note adds, the dot adds 1 beat to a half note. It adds half the value of the note. So 2 + 1 is, of course, 3. That's where that came from, okay? Make sure on your dotted half notes, 1/3 of the bow through the first beat, 2/3 of the bow at the end of the second beat, 3/3 of the bow all the way to the tip at the end of the third beat. All right, shadow bow 105, and guess what? It's just the D major scale. You would think, oh, it's easy, but this 3/4 thing is gonna kind of throw you off. Just, if you need to shadow it multiple times, do so. Rewind in the video and shadow bow with me, okay? Because it is a little weird. It is a little weird. Shadow bow 105, and 1, red C, shadow bow. 1, 2, 3. 1 take, 2 take, 3 take. 1 take, 2 take, 3 take. 1 take, 2 take, 3 take. Off. Okay, now play that with me. 105 and 1. Red say go. 1, 2, 3. 1 take, 2 take, 3 take. 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 Off. Okay, now I need you to grab a pencil. So if you need to pause the video now to go get a pencil, please do so. And then I want you to take your book, and I'm using a viola book right now. I want you to find number 106, and then I want you to number all of the measures, okay? Number all of the measures, and I like to, when I'm numbering, I like to put it right on top of the bar line, like that, okay? So you can see that. When you finish, at the end of line number 1, you should be at measure 6. At the end of line 2, it should be 13. So keep numbering. Check yourself, and you should end up with 20 measures. Now this is in the viola book. Possibly the lines are different in the other books, but I don't think so. I think it's 6, 13, and 20, okay? Now, the reason is because there's some places that I want you to kind of review and stop and start again, okay? Much like we've done with some of the longer songs, like Ode to Joy and stuff like that. Okay, now this song is kind of a neat little song because it's long and it sounds really pretty, but it's not very difficult to play. And this sounds crazy, but my students and I always call this the grandma song because for some reason grandmas love this song. They just think it's so pretty. And you can learn this in like 5 minutes and sound great on it. Go play it for grandma and she'll be very happy. Or mom or dad or whoever, your dog, whoever wants to listen to you play. But if you look at it, a lot of it's just D major scale-ish. And so if you're good with your D major scale and you've been practicing every day, it's not going to be difficult for you. Okay, let's shadow bow just the first 8 measures right now. First 8 measures, shadow bow. And 1, start my high D down, 1, red, say, go. And 1 take, 2 take, 3 take. 1 take, 2 take, 3 take, stop. Okay, so you see how that's pretty much the D major scale? Measure 3 is not, but the rest of it just keeps going down. Okay, that part's easy. Now play with me from the beginning. And first 8 measures. 1, red, say, go. two, take, three, take. One, take, two, take, three, take, stop. Okay? Now let's look at measure 9, 10, and 11. Look, it does the same thing. It goes D, E, F sharp, D, E, F sharp, D, E, F sharp, and then finally goes up to G. Now look at 13, 14, 15. It's the same concept starting one note higher. So instead of going D, E, F sharp, it goes, look at 13. E, F sharp, G, E, F sharp, G, E, F sharp, G, A. Does the same thing. It's a pattern. Remember, we're trying to recognize patterns in music. It helps us learn more quickly. So 3 times of the same thing. D, E, F sharp, D, E, F sharp, D, E, F sharp. By the 3rd time, you finally go up to G. And then 13, E, F sharp, G, E, F sharp, G. On the 3rd time, go up to A. Okay, let's shout about that. Measure 9 through 16. And 1, open D. 1, shadow, bow. D, F sharp, D. Go up to G this time. 1. Now E, F, G. E, F sharp, G. 1, take, 2, take, 3, take, stop. Play that with me now. If you need to pause and practice on your own, totally normal, totally fine. Start at number 9 and measure 9. 1, ready, say, go. 3rd time, D, go up to G now. 1, take, 2, now E, F, G. E, F sharp, G. 1, take, 2, take, 3, take, stop. Now look at 17 to the end. 17 to the end is, I call it a scale with a tail, okay? Because it goes down the D major scale, D, C sharp, B, A, G, F sharp, E, D, E, D. That's it, okay? Shout about 17 to the end. And 1, ready, say, go, D. All right. 1, take, 2, take, 3, take, off. Now play that. But get your G better in tune than I just did. Last 4 measures, 17, 1, ready, say, go. Play. 1. 1, take, 2, take, 3, take, off. Okay? Now, what I would suggest that you do at this time is pause the video and do any section that you didn't do so well on. You probably did pretty well in the first 8 measures. Some people mess up 9 through 16. Other people have issues with the scale with the tail at the end thing. The ED messes them up. It just kind of whatever. So pause, practice what you need to, because the next thing we're going to do, we're going to play it all together without stopping. Okay? If you're ready to play with me from the beginning to the end. Not shadow bowing, playing. High D down. And 1, ready, say, and go. 1, take, 2, take, 3, take. 1, take, 2, take, 3, take. 1, take, 2, take, 3, take. Now E, F, G. E, F, G. This time go to A. 1. Now scale with the tail. 1, take, 2, take, 3, take, off. Okay? Stop and practice that as many times as you need. And the next thing I want you to do, we're going to move on to 107. And I want you to number the measures in 107. Now, it doesn't seem like this song is really that long, and it really is not, except there are going to be some times when I say, okay, start. It's easier if I can tell you a measure number than say, okay, start 2nd line, measure 3, whatever. So go ahead and number them all, and you should end up with 16 measures. I have 8 measures on the 1st line and 8 measures on the 2nd line. You can pause and look at that. Make it match. Of course, I'm holding a viola book, so yours won't look exactly like that. Okay, now this one, I want you to look at measure 2, and violin and viola players, I want you to do independent fingers that are there. Now, we've talked about that with your arpeggio. Cellos, don't worry about that. But you don't, you see, you don't need your E finger down in measure 2 at all. Okay, so don't put it down. All right. This one is, we're going to go a tiny bit slower on this because it is a little bit trickier. So if you struggle with this one a little bit, that's completely normal. You do need to practice it a little bit more in some of your other songs, okay? All right, shadow bow from the beginning. In fact, we're just going to do the first 4 measures. Shadow bow 1, red, say, and go. 1 take, 2 take, 3 take, stop. Okay? If you think you need a shadow bow again, shadow bow again. If you think you're ready, play it with me. And 1, red, say, and go. 1 take, 2 take, 3 take, stop. Okay? Now, one of the places people mess up in this song is measure 5 and 6. And it's because there are so many dotted half notes in a row. All right, so we're actually going to go back to the beginning and shadow bow measure 1 through 8 because the hard part is putting it together. Okay, shadow bow from the beginning, measure 1 through 8, and 1, red, say, shadow bow. 1 take, 2 take, 3 take, 1 take, 2 take, 3 take. See how long those are. 1 take, 2 take, 3 take, off. Okay, now try playing that much with me from the beginning. And 1, red, say, and go. 1 take, 2 take, 3 take, 1 take, 2 take, 3 take. Very slow bows. 1 take, 2 take, 3 take, stop. Okay, now 9, 10, 11, especially 10 and 11, kind of reminds me of the middle of French folk song because look at the 10 and 11. It goes G, F sharp, E, G, F sharp, E. Now here's the place people mess up, and that's in measure 12, going from E to B. You've got to go 1 to 1. All right, that is a problem for people. Shadow bow 9 through 12. 1, red, say, and go. Shadow bow, G, F sharp, E, G. Now hop that, roll that 1 over. 2 take, 3 take. Now, rather than hopping it over, I want you just to roll it over. Okay, and that's going to be true for cellos as well. You're just going to go from here and just roll it over. Why are we going to roll it instead of hop it? The hopping is probably going to get you some extra sounds that we don't want. Okay, so don't get a bad hand position and don't flatten your finger out. Don't do that. Just roll it from here to here. Okay, now try playing that. Measure 9 and 1, red, say, go. Roll it. Okay, now the place that people mess up in 13 and 14 is the number of A's. Look how many A's there are. There's 5 A's. That's a strange number of A's, okay? Now, if you're counting 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, like you should be, you know that that G in measure 14 happens on beat 3. So if you'll count like this, don't play, just listen. This is 13. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay? Rather than shadow bow, I want you to echo me on 13 and 14. Echo me this time, 13 and 14. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, G, go. A, G. And while I'm playing that A, of course, I've got my hand hovered above ready for the G. Try that again with me. 13 and 14. 1, red, say, and go. A, 2, 3, 1, 2, change. Okay, so you got to switch strings on and up bow. It's a little bit tricky. Okay, now go from 13 to the end. No shadow bow, just playing with me. 1, whoops, and 1, red, say, and go. 13. 1, 2, G. 1 take, 2 take, 3 take, off. Okay. Pause the video, practice whatever you need to practice, and then join me. We're going to play it through now from the beginning. And 1, red, say, and go. 1 take, 2 take, 3 take, 1 take, 2 take, 3 take, 1, 2, here's measure 7. 1 take, 2, if you're lost, second line. This one will take a little bit longer, okay? Practice, practice till you can't get it wrong.